NBC7 News Today begins with breaking news.
It's 5:30, and right now there's a sense of urgency because there's a fast-moving brush fire that's burning on the north side of Camp Pendleton. These are pictures that we've seen when it first started burning. Fire crews do not have any of it surrounded at all.
Yeah, and the scene is just as dramatic this morning, even before the sun comes up. We're talking about the Cristianitos fire. It started a little bit before 7 o'clock last night, and as of this morning, we just got some new information. It's up to 700 acres right now. We have team coverage on top of the fire in the effort to stop it from growing even larger.
And as you can see right there, there's our team. We've got Jody on your first alert forecast. They've got Whitney on how it might affect the fire crews. And then we've got our NBC7's Gabby Rodriguez is out there.
She's in San Clemente right now, where, Gabby, firefighters are trying to stop it from spreading farther north, and you have some pretty dramatic pictures and a great vantage point this morning.
We have an amazing vantage point and a lot of updated information to pass along to you guys. So let's get to that first. Now, as you mentioned, that fire is at 700 acres, 10% surrounded. They have more than 200 firefighters out here. Evacuations, if you're listening and you live in this area, evacuations are not mandatory at this time. And they're thinking that for now, that it's going to remain that way. Now, let's show you what we're seeing right now. Take a look at the fire around here. I just spoke to the public information officer in charge of releasing information to the public about this fire. And he's telling us the majority of the flames that you're seeing right now are backfires that the fire department has lit in order to contain this fire. And if you look a little bit further closer to us, actually, you can see a containment line that has placed through here. Usually what the fire department does is that they go through the areas with bulldozers in order to put a line in that'll hopefully stop the fire from spreading. There is a lot of smoke in the air, and it really smells like there's a big barbecue going on out here, but it does look pretty impressive to see all of the flames, and it looks spotty in nature at this point. Now, we are told that the fire is not moving at a fast pace anymore. That is the good news. It has changed directions though, so before it was moving north, now it's moving in a southwest direction, but very, very slowly and steadily. We're going to go ahead and show you the other side because we have quite some fires surrounding our area. So if you look over towards that mountaintop there, you can see another backfire that was lit by the fire department as well. Now, there are some homes close to this area, but like I mentioned to you, evacuations are not mandatory at this time. Now that you've seen what the fire looks like right now, let's take a look at what we were dealing with just last night. So last night, a very different look out here with firefighters just then getting to work. Last night, there were more firefighters out here actually than there are now. And when I spoke to the public information officer, he says right now they have all the pieces in place to continue to keep a good eye on this fire and to continue to build those containment lines. And that is really what they are focusing on right now. They're focusing on reinforcing the containment lines to keep the fire to these 700 acres that it has now turned into. So overnight, going from 250 acres to 700 acres. Now we're going to show you a little bit more of what we're seeing out here. You saw that fire, you saw the containment lines earlier, and if you look a little bit more towards my side over here, Shane's going to show you guys right now, there's another little spot fire over here right past my left shoulder. So that's what I mean when I was saying that there's a couple of little spots that they're going to be focusing on throughout the morning. And it sounds like from what Jody was saying that the weather should be helpful for firefighters as they continue to work towards completely surrounding this fire. Marianne and Greg.
And so, Gabby, what's really interesting that what you said is that we're looking at these huge flames, but you mentioned that those are backfires so that they can get some containment there. And right to your left, if we can see that shot again, we've got firefighters who are actually standing right there next to the flames. Are they the ones that are setting this backfire?
Yes, so the firefighters that are like now right in the thick of it are the ones that are setting the backfire. So they're going in there, and these are the ones that do some of the real hard work. They have to hike into these areas and do all of this work by hand. So very strategic, very dangerous, and just an amazing work by these firefighters that we've been seeing throughout this morning. So hopefully everyone stays safe out there. And the other good news that I have to tell you folks is that no one's been injured. So that's a good thing. Firefighters have been able to do their job without any injuries so far fighting this fire.
Thank you, Gabby, and we'll stay on that shot for just a moment here because what you'll notice is the smoke going more vertically. That's great news this morning. There's not a lot of wind up there right now. The weather's really been cooperating overnight. So the next part of this story, we want to get over to Jody Kodesh for our first alert forecast. She's been tracking the current conditions. And again, Jody, things are looking a lot better this morning.
They are. Mother Nature's cooperating with us. Those firefighters are able to light those backfires because this is not a wind-driven fire situation. So that is great. And in addition to that, as we take a look at our first alert Doppler radar, we're cloudy out. So we are overcast, and that's really helping with the humidity levels. We always look at wind, humidity, and temperature, and all three of them cooperating and expected to cooperate today. Now, the current conditions out at Camp Pendleton are northern part of our county, about 63 degrees. As we saw there, the winds are calm. That smoke was rising, and yes, anything above a 3-mile-per-hour wind will start to shift the smoke, and it wasn't shifting much, so that is great. As you can see here today, we're going to clear the clouds out, 70 to 78. We'll take a look at our extended forecast coming up. Whitney.
Okay, again, location of the fire, North Camp Pendleton. You got San Onofre, San Clemente off to the west. Interstate 5. Anybody on 5 today is going to see that smoke, of course. But again, we're not concerned that it's going to be reaching the freeway, the winds, even though I believe Gabby was saying that the position of the fire, the direction of fire is now off to the southwest. That's because of the fuel available to it. But again, if you're coming up and down the 5, no reason to be concerned that the fire is coming toward you, but you are going to see the smoke. Okay, got a new wreck. 2 vehicles working right here. 15 north at the 52. We've got a pickup truck facing the wrong way. So we're going to have to get all that straightened out. No commuter traffic yet. It's still very early in the morning. So things are pretty quiet out there other than this and, of course, the fire up north. It is 5:37, just about. Maria?
Welcome back. It's 5:45 right now. We want to bring you back to that fire burning to the north of Camp Pendleton near San Clemente right now, the Cristianitos fire, and these are some live pictures in the moment. What are called backfires, or what firefighters are doing this morning. This is basically they're burning some of the fuel already there to get it out of the way should the other fire burn into that same area.
And to give you an idea just exactly where this is, San Clemente to the 5 north, it's about 60 miles to the north of us. Ordinarily, it would take about maybe 50 minutes to get there with no traffic. Right now, local agencies are assisting CAL FIRE. We've also got some crews from Orange County who are fighting this fire as well. And as you can see, right side in there, those are the fire crews that are setting this backfire in order to get control of the 700-acre fire now that's grown. It started a little bit after 7 o'clock last night. It kind of actually was surprising to many people because it grew so quickly. First it was 10, 20 acres, then it grew to 100, 200, and this morning, once again, we're learning 700 acres. Nobody's been evacuated yet. Nobody has been hurt.
And Shane, our photographer, our photojournalist out there, I don't know if you can hear us, but if you can zoom in as much as possible on those firefighters on the left-hand part of your screen, what you'll see happening, those are them actually setting those fires right there with what they have in their hand. You can see them actually setting the brush on fire. Again, this is a backfire. You can only really do this when the weather's cooperating because you have to have control over those fires. They're intentionally getting some of the fuel out of the way. As you can see, the smoke going straight up in the air there. Wind has not been an issue. We've been talking to Jody this morning. Weather is favorable. So these are the kind of conditions where they can really get out there and be more on the offensive rather than the defensive when they're trying to fight these fires.
And what's really kind of interesting, too, is if you drive along the 5 to the north, if you're headed for Orange County or to LA for that matter, you always see this sort of vast space, this vast open space. So a lucky thing, we know it's used for training ground, but it's a lucky thing that there aren't a lot of structures there. But once again, once it reaches into Orange County, that's where you get into where buildings and offices and businesses may be threatened. But nobody's been evacuated as of yet, and as if the weather cooperates, then they'll get this under control. They're making some progress little by little. 10% surrounded right now, and hopefully, as Jody gives us our first alert weather forecast, it'll be better news as the morning goes on.
NBC 7 News Today begins with breaking news.
And that breaking news is that fire right there. More than 700 acres have burned so far in a fast-moving wildfire near Camp Pendleton. We have team coverage for you this morning.
Whitney is monitoring any impact for you on traffic on Interstate 5 as you travel northward. Jody has her eyes on the temperatures and the wind, but we begin up close for you. We're at the scene of this fire now with NBC 7's Gabby Rodriguez live in San Clemente. Gabby, and we see it right behind you.
Yes, good morning, Marianne. The fire is right behind me, but what we do want to share with folks is these are all backfires, and there's a lot of activity going on this morning. We're going to turn the camera around a little bit and show you the firefighters hard at work. You can see them right on the top of that ridge, and what we've been seeing throughout the morning is them lighting these backfires. What the backfires are there for is to burn off all of the vegetation that you see right on this hill, just in case the fire doesn't make it over that ridge. It doesn't have much fuel to spread. Now, we've been hearing this popping sound and seeing these sparks of kind of fire coming out. There's a machine that the firefighters are using to work on these backfires. I think you might have heard one right there. I don't know if the mic picked that up, but there's quite a bit of firefighters out here right now, a little more than 200 firefighters. I was told by the public information officer that's here handling this incident this morning. And he also told me that, like Marianne mentioned, 700 acres now. This fire started at 250 last night, so it did spread rather quickly. But now the good news is it's slowed down significantly. It's moving very, very slow. And of course, the weather cooperating, giving firefighters enough time to go out there and do these backfires so that they can get ahead of the fire here. They've also put in some pretty good containment lines, I'm told, by the public information officer. Those containment lines are something that they are working on reinforcing right now. And I don't know if you saw that spark on the hill right there, but those are the sparks that I've been seeing that have been shooting out through this area. We're going to turn the camera around a little bit more over to my side here, because you see there are some other backfires there. But take a look at how close that fire, as it's moving down the hill, is coming to this building here. Now, obviously not a concern for firefighters at this time because they know that they have a handle on these backfires. These are intentionally set, like I said, in order to get rid of some of the vegetation on the hillside, just in case that fire breaks over. Now, we're going to stay on top of this, and it is worth mentioning for anybody watching, living in the San Clemente area or anywhere near this fire, no mandatory evacuations at this time, and all firefighters have remained safe and continue to do their work. No injuries reported so far. Marianne and Greg.
Yeah, just really amazing stuff there. And Gabby, I don't know if we can pan back to some of those backfires to take another look at them here, because the perspective we can see when the firefighters are there and you see the flames next to them really paints the picture of, even in these backfires, even the ones that are under control, just how big those flames are. As we get a little bit closer here, you're going to see those firefighters, if we can see them in this one, maybe one of the other ones as well, just dwarfed by the size of those flames, several times higher, taller than the actual firefighters. Amazing they can keep these under control. They can be on the offensive, not the defensive, and that has a lot to do with how cooperative the weather's been this morning. And
I think what's really good about setting these backfires is because it's such a vast open space there that they can burn down that vegetation, as Gabby mentioned, so to create kind of like a dirt road, a dirt ring around some areas so that that fire doesn't have anything to burn if it does indeed reach it. To give you an idea of just where we are, this is San Clemente from downtown San Diego. It's about a 59-minute drive if there is no traffic. And it's just to the east of the 5 freeway. Gabby, once again, can you give us an idea? You can definitely smell the smoke in the area, but how far away are you from any homes or perhaps businesses?
Well, there's businesses right in this area that you see. They kind of are like warehouse type businesses that are right at the bottom of this hill. So there are those, but there's also homes not too far from here. I would say probably about 4 blocks away from here. There is a community of houses there. So right behind that hill, essentially, there's definitely a good saturation of homes through that area.
All right, Gabby Rodriguez, thank you very much, and we will continue to check in with you. In the meantime, temperatures are in the low 60s. We didn't see much wind there. All good news.
First alert weather forecast. Jody, what's it look like?
Yeah, weather conditions are perfect. I was in touch with my producers, my co-anchors last night, saying that the conditions in the overnight hours and especially today would be really good for firefighters. And as you can see, we are cloudy along the coast. It's overcast. Temperatures right now near the fire, upper 50s, low 60s. And as we could see in that live shot, the smoke was rising straight up, indicating there's little or no wind at all. And that is the case. So that was the case all night as well and this morning. And that is expected to be the case all day today. Not expecting expecting to see much wind, and that is a great thing. In addition to that, the cloud cover that's out there right now has done wonders for our humidity levels. You can see our percentages right now in the 70s and 80s, as high as they've been for the last 10 days, and that is great. We are gradually going to see the clouds clear, but temperatures won't climb too high in that area. Upper 60s, low 70s, and that's perfect. In fact, many of us today in the 70s. It's going to be a very nice day. We'll talk more about our first alert forecast coming up, but let's get to Whitney now with a look at traffic.
Yeah, other than the smoke you're going to see off of Interstate 5, whether if you're coming in or out of Orange County and way up north San Diego County, there are no impacts from the fire. Let's take a look at the rest of your commute, though. We've got 33 minutes still coming down that 5 out of Oceanside. Good drive south out of Escondido. No problems at all up here on the 78. Nothing but green in both directions. 56 looking good. In fact, it's been a terrific commute all morning. Here's one trouble spot. We had a bad accident right there at the 163-15 earlier. That has now been cleared, but the northbound traffic has not. Other than that, we're seeing very little color other than green on any of our freeways at the moment, and it is 6:06. Let's get back over to more news. I'll see you back over here in just about 5 minutes.
Okay, Whitney, but before we do that, let's get a recap now, get you caught up on this. Live pictures, once again, these are backfires that you're looking at. It's the Cristianitos fire because it's just off Cristianitos Road in Orange County, but just over the border of San Diego County. Fire started just before 7 o'clock last night near San Mateo Drive and Cristianitos on Camp Pendleton grounds. It's 700 acres now, grew very quickly. It is 10% surrounded. That's our last information. We went looking for it for you this morning. That's what we have found out. Multiple agencies, including those from Orange County, Camp Pendleton, and CAL FIRE are at the scene. So once again, live pictures for you right now. We have Gabby Rodriguez at the scene there. What you're looking at is a backfire there to try and get this under control so that the fire does not creep over to buildings and homes.
Amazing to see those firefighters work in real time there this morning.
And we are back at 6:16 right now, and we are on top of the biggest story of the morning, and it being this fire here. You're looking at live pictures right now. Yep, those are live pictures from our crew at the scene just over the San Diego County border in San Clemente, where the Cristianitos fire has been burning since last night. It's in Orange County right now. It started just before 7 o'clock near Camp Pendleton. It's about 700 acres. What you're looking at there are crews that are setting backfires there in order to kind of get a ring around this fire so that it doesn't jump over the ridge to homes and businesses. Cause of the fire still unknown to this moment, but firefighters from several local agencies, including those from Orange County and Camp Pendleton, they are now fighting this fire. So far, no evacuations have been ordered. Nobody's been hurt, but that could change depending on any kind of changing wind conditions or temperature conditions. But as of now, Jody is telling us that the temperature is in the favor of the firefighters. So we're going to stay on top of this. So once again, you're looking at live pictures from our crew who's right there at the scene. And as you can see, all those people up there, those are firefighters that are monitoring this fire right now. They're setting backfires, and right now, hopefully, they can get a ring around it very soon and get it fully contained. But right now, 700 acres. Greg, back over to you.
NBC 7 News Today begins with breaking news.
It's 6:29 right now. We're staying on top of this major breaking news story that we've been covering for you all morning long. It's that large wildfire that's burning right on Camp Pendleton right now into Orange County.
We've had team coverage of this all morning long. Whitney is looking at the traffic impact on this morning's commute. Jody's been monitoring the wind and the humidity. There's been some good news as far as the weather's concerned. Gabby Rodriguez has been our eyes on the ground right now. And Gabby, you've gotten a really great perspective at how firefighters are taking the offensive here this morning.
It's been impressive to watch. The fire behind me is actually a backfire. So these are intentionally set. We've been watching this progress throughout the morning, and you can already see the vegetation that they've been able to burn off. This is a good thing. This is a protection mechanism for all of the buildings that are right at the bottom of the hill. And you see the flames getting pretty close to there. And even though the flames seem to be very big and the firefighters very small next to those big flames, they have this under control. Now, we just learned a new technique that they're using. New to us at least. Usually you see them walking around with these torch-like kind of contraptions, and that's how they light the backfires by hand. So very hard work as the firefighters are moving through this area. They have to hike through this hill and light these backfires. You've also been seeing these pops and maybe flashes of fire going across the screen and hearing them while we've been live. That is a berry gun or pistol. It's a modified pistol, and it's just another way that firefighters can set these backfires. So they'll shoot it into areas that are maybe more difficult for them to get to or dangerous for them to hike into, and that's how they're able to continue to set these controlled burns through this area. Now, the video that you're looking at is just video of that fire. It is now at 700 acres. We just heard one of those pops right now. It is now at 700 acres. They have it 10% surrounded, so they still have quite a bit of work ahead of them right now. I just spoke to the public information officer, which is the person in charge of this incident here, and they get information out to the media and to the public. And they told me that they are right now going through all of the latest information, so they will have that for us as soon as they're done with their briefing meeting. So we're waiting to hear back from them regarding that. But right now, backfires are continuously being set through this area. And if you take a look a little bit further on towards me over here, Shane's going to move that camera. You can see some of that smoke going directly up like we've been mentioning all morning long, which means the winds are pretty calm through this area. That's exactly what the firefighters need in order to continue to set these backfires. A lot of that hill right there is completely charred already. So Marianne and Greg, a lot of work going on back here, but it looks like they're making some good progress.
And so, Gabby, so we're looking at the smoke behind you, and we see it's angling just a little bit. What direction is that moving? Behind you.
It's angling a little bit towards the west. So behind me, it's going towards the west. And so the breeze has picked up just a tiny bit, but it's ever so faint. Still not bad conditions out here for firefighters from what we can tell from our vantage point.
Yeah, and we'll point out there that the bulk of the fire, the wildfire part of this, the wind looks like it's blowing towards the backfires they're setting, which would indicate that those backfires are set in exactly the place they need to be right there in order to set up what you've been talking about, Gabby, that fire break. So when the fire, if it reaches that far, there's really nothing left for it to burn. They're basically eliminating any of the fuel out there. And there's just so much fuel right now because of all the rain we had this past winter. Weather conditions, you mentioned the breeze picking up a little bit there. We can see, though, it's cloudy. It is definitely cooler this morning, so let's get to that part of the story right now. Jody Cotis tracking our first alert weather. Looks a lot better this morning, Jody.
It does. You know, we have some of the best firefighters in the world here in the state of California, and they're able to so beautifully light those backfires to help surround the fire because the weather conditions are just cooperating so nicely. Look, we're cool, we're cloudy. Mentioning the winds, it was just extremely calm. Now at about a 3-mile wind, and either way, very nice conditions because anything under 10 is what we're looking for. So speaking of what we're looking at, outside it's cloudy near that area. As you can see, this is a live shot. We're overcast and cool this morning, turning sunny and mild, so temperature's not too high, wind not an issue, so firefighting conditions are very good for today. As we can see here, we're going to clear to sunny skies. Our beach is about 70. The inland valleys even down into the 70s, around 78 as well. We're going to do the weekend forecast next, so don't go anywhere, but if you have to head out, Whitney has you covered on your traffic.
Thanks much. Okay, first alert traffic time, 6:34. And again, impact on the commute should be virtually nil. However, if you are on the 5, either north or south, up at the county line, chances are pretty good. You could see the smoke off to the right. We see that so often when we are traversing the 5 and headed for Orange County or coming out of Orange County if there is a fire, and there are numerous fires over on Camp Pendleton throughout the year. We can see the smoke over there. It is not a Santa Ana, so the smoke will not be blowing toward the 5. Like a Santa Ana condition when you get those northeasterlies. So impact on the 5 should be negligible. Further south, nice commute. Still coming out Oceanside, no problem. The 15 good. The 78 and 56, both of those full speed ahead. Further south, yeah, we're starting to see some slowing in the usual spots. We'll take a look at all that coming back in just a couple of minutes. Back to you.
Thanks, Whit. So, yeah, we're talking about this fire from every angle right now, and our fire coverage does not end here. We're going to stay on top of this all morning. Jody's going to keep looking at the current conditions. We're going to keep Gabby out there right near the fire. If anything happens when we're not on the air, so after 7 o'clock this morning, be sure you check NBC7.com. Also, this is a great time to make sure you downloaded our mobile app. Welcome back. It's 6:46 right now. We want to get you back to San Clemente to show you the Cristianitos fire, which has been burning since last night. What you're looking at right here, these are live pictures, and most of those fires you see up on the hill, those are backfires. So that's what's been intentionally set by firefighters this morning. We've been talking about how they've been doing that, using those berry guns that basically shoot fireballs, and we've seen a few of them across our screen. What they're trying to do right now is basically get rid of some of this fuel right there in case the main part of the fire would burn through, and then it takes away anything left to burn. 700 acres have burned so far. The fire started a little bit later last night, about 7 o'clock. So far, nobody has been hurt. No buildings have been burned. No evacuations underway. That could change, though, depending on the conditions. Weather so far this morning has been favorable. We've been checking in with Jody. The winds are not too strong. Temperatures are cool. Humidities are up. All of that really good news. But again, a lot of work still to go on this fire that's burning on the north side of Camp Pendleton right now. And we will continue to stay on this throughout the day. Gabby Rodriguez is there, and we'll update you all morning long.